Dr. Ruben Valdez from Integrated Health Center of the Rockies is helping to change the lives for many type 2 diabetics, even reducing and eliminating the need for prescription medications and insulin. Dr. Valdez shares details about his upcoming free diabetic dinner event. I love talking about this with you. It's no joke. I mean, people work so hard with diet and exercise, working with their diet to keep this disease at bay, and yet it's still so frustrating. Why is that?
Well, one of the things that we see in the world of type 2 diabetes is from the moment of diagnosis, people are told you now have to lose weight, exercise, diet, be on these medications for the rest of your life. And the best that you can hope is for a slow progression to what will be the disease that will devastate you. For most patients, they work really, really hard at trying to comply with these recommendations and yet continue to see themselves getting worse and worse over time. They frequently go back to their doctor's office and the only solution that they're given, the only alternative, is to start piling up medication on top of medication. This cycle becomes very frustrating for the majority of patients, many of them even getting to the point where they become insulin dependent. And for the majority of them, what I've heard and learned is that they know that somehow there has to be a different way than such a damaging path. Most diabetics don't even know and understand that in our country, over 92% of people with diabetes experience diabetic complications regardless of being considered controlled diabetics. So that's one of the reasons I'm here. I've kind of had it up to here in seeing people succumb to such a treatable and in many times reversible disease.
So let's talk about your approach. How is it different and how can you help?
So the key here is understanding what it is that's creating the blood sugar problem. People are not diabetic because their blood sugar is high. People are diabetic because something in the way that they regulate blood sugar broke down. We now know there's 6 specific subtypes to type 2 diabetes, and sadly the majority of patients get the exact same cookie cutter treatment. One of the reasons that they progress onto these devastating consequences. What we do that is different is we test so rigorously that we can actually figure out why they are becoming diabetic in the first place. By customizing treatment and addressing those underlying root causes, we actually see the disease begin to reverse. Oh,
such good news. Let's remind everyone, free diabetic dinner event. That's Tuesday, November 13th at 6 p.m. 303-974-1087. Call that number to RSVP and reserve your seat for this amazing dinner event. Now, can you actually reverse the disease?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that has given us the degree of success that we have here in Denver. Our practice right now is very, very busy. We are kind of overwhelmed with work at the time, and the main reason is because we have so many patients having confirmed reversals of their type 2 diabetes, walking away from prescription medication, never having to be on insulin again, and most importantly, kind of walking away from that phase of their life, kind of moving away from the fear and the worry and the stress and the concern and the strain of having to deal with this disease on a day-to-day basis.
Well, not only do you have these dinner events, you've also written this amazing book. Tell us about it and what's in it. How do you communicate with people about what they may or may not be experiencing?
Yeah, so the book is an additional tool. As you can imagine, so many millions of diabetics in our country, and yet I'm just one man trying to scream from the mountaintop. So a book is actually a great vehicle, and the message that I really want to be able to deliver is, hey, there is an alternative. We don't need to continue believing the idea that the only way to deal and handle diabetes is through prescription drugs. That simply is not true.
Well, let's remind everyone of this amazing dinner event, free diabetic dinner event. It's November 13th. That is a Tuesday. It's at 6 p.m. And all you have to do is call this number, 303-974-1087 to RSVP. Save your spot. How quickly can people start seeing a difference? If they start taking you up on it and reading about this, learning about what you're going to explain to them, when do most people that you know of start seeing a difference?
Yeah, so when a patient is a good candidate and they get accepted into treatment, for some of them, we actually start seeing dramatic improvements in less than a week. You've heard me say this before, but my personal clinical record, I got a patient off of insulin after 7 years of having been on insulin. So the results for patients that are prepared to make their health their number number one priority, the results are remarkable.
And that's what you say is really when you're looking for a new patient or someone who might fit into what you can help them with, they really need to be ready to put their health first and foremost, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Working in diabetes at times can be heartbreaking because people in the early stages still have this ambivalence, if you may, sometimes even this denial. And that's the moment when they're best positioned to have a full reversal. And then when people actually become motivated, sometimes they've progressed to the point where they can no longer be helped. So for me, if you want to reverse your diabetes, you got to be, you got to be ready to climb the mountain.
Call 303-974-1087 to learn how you can reserve a seat for Integrated Health's free diabetic dinner event November 13th at 6 p.m. Seating is limited. Integrated Health Center of the Rockies paid for this segment. Thanks for